What's up, and welcome back to another Kinda Funny screencast. As always, I'm Tim Geddes, and I'm joined by, it's Christmas in February, Joey Noel.
Oh, it is February now. Hello. We've waited so long to
Forever,
talk about this, Tim.
some would say.
Oh my God.
Joey,
Of
before we
course.
talk about it, though, you need to show the world your shirt.
Oh, I do. So this is a drop from our friends at Cakeworthy. They didn't send this, but I just bought it because it was cool. But look at this. Look at all these
Neopets. The most Joey shirt I've ever seen.
I saw it and I was like, I have to get this. There's no way I'm not ordering this.
Yeah.
And it's
truly.
very cozy and comfy. I'm excited.
Incredible. I love it. So happy for you living your best life, Joe. And we're living our best lives together because last night we got to go to a screener. We got to watch Jackass Forever, finally. And now we get to talk about it right here on the Kinda Funny screencast that you can get at youtube.com/kindafunny or roosterteeth.com. You can also get it as a podcast by searching your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny screencast, and we'll be right there for you. If you wanted to get the show ad-free, if you wanted to watch it live as it's being recorded, you got to go to patreon.com/kindafunny, just like our Patreon producers, Gordon McGuire, Molecule, and at James Davis Makes. We appreciate you all so very much. Today we're brought to you by DoorDash, but I'll tell you about that later. Screencast has a whole bunch of stuff going on. Book of Boba Fett weekly reviews, Peacemaker weekly reviews, obviously movie reviews like this. We got Uncharted coming out in a couple weeks. I'm sure we'll be doing that. And then the Halo show. And then Moon Knight. There's just going to be a ton of stuff. So if there's something hot happening in movie TVs or trailers, this is the spot you want to be at. But enough of the rigmarole, enough of that stuff. Joey Noel, last night, me and you went to the theater. We went to the screener. It was me, it was you, and it was a theater packed with two other people, which might be the absolute worst way to watch a Jackass movie. But despite that, we had a fucking blast. Is that right?
It was so fun. So I got to the theater early. I had one of those awkward amounts of time, and I was like, you know what? I just got a Kindle. I'll just take it with me. I'll read. I'll get there early. I won't stress out. And then I got there and it was probably 6:35 or 6:40. And I was checking in with the screener people, and they were like, well, you're the first person here. And every other time I've done a screener with this company, with Kevin, there's usually a line of people. It's a big deal. And so I was like, oh no, this is not looking good that it's just me here yet. So I was just sitting in there for a while. Eventually one other person came, and then you were next, and we're like, uh-oh. This might be a small screening.
Yeah, but it was so fun, and I feel like me and you had a great time. We were laughing the entire hour and a half runtime of this movie. They sent over a press kit of explaining what the movie is, and I want to read a little bit about it because I think that they did a good job of really kind of capturing the magic of Jackass. 20 years ago, the Jackass series premiered, starring a group of fearless idiots doing stunts and pranks to make each other laugh. In 2010, Jackass 3D was the third installment of the franchise to hit #1 at the box office. A decade later, Knoxville got the itch again. He called his partners to let them know it was time to get the band back together. They had some important questions they wanted to answer, like, what would happen if they made a beard of bees on Steve-O's wiener? Could they build a kite that would lift a 410-pound man over a field of cactus? Could Knoxville tame a 2-ton bloodthirsty bull with a magic trick? Spoiler, bulls do not like magic. I think they really nailed every single thing that this movie is and succeeds at, which is what Jackass has always been about. Friendship and having fun, laughing at each other, and just being stoked that, oh my God, I can't believe it worked. They set up these elaborate pranks. Someone's going to get hurt. And when that person does get hit with whatever the hell they're getting hit with, the laughter from the group around them is what really makes it special. And I think that this movie reminds me a lot of Toy Story 4, where did we need a fourth one? No, because the third ended so perfectly. But getting it really made me realize there's still stories to tell. There's still fun to be had. And this was a really special movie for me.
Totally. I think you nailed it with the everybody laughing. You can just tell in all of these movies that at the core of it, this is a group of friends that just likes to fuck around, and it's just escalated over the years. There's so many other, at this point, YouTube, prank, all these other avenues where you could get these kinds of stunts that people are doing. And that usually isn't my type of humor, but because they're all having so much fun while they're doing it and razzing each other and amping each other up for this, that really is the magic in a bottle for Jackass for me. Because on paper, this is not and should not be a Joey movie, a Joey series, but like even back in the day from the show, going back 20 years now, like
Yeah.
this has always been an extreme guilty of pleasure of mine that it's hard to explain, especially to people that don't like it, where it's like I can't tell you why I think it's funny necessarily. Like if you don't get it based on the pitch, it's just like it's a vibe and it's a feeling.
It's genuine. I think that's kind of what it is. And you bringing up the, kind of TikTok, YouTube generation of pranks and all that stuff, and how dark and kind of fucked up a lot of those things can be. And not to excuse Jackass, because yeah, back 20 years ago, they were doing some really fucked up shit as well. But I think
Yeah.
that they found their voice. They were a group of very young men that were putting their bodies in harm's way to entertain others. And it really kind of defined a entire generation. I would not be doing what I'm doing. Kind of Funny would not exist if it weren't for Jackass. Like just the idea of turning a camera on yourself, and every single person that was born in the late 80s all the way through to the early 2000s, I would say, that is interested at all in this type of stuff, got a camera, put it in their face and said, "Hello, I'm Tim Geddes and welcome to whatever,"
Kind of
and
funny.
did something fucking stupid. Like
Mhm.
it's very inspirational to see a group of friends kind of succeed in this way and having so much fun together. And obviously there's been a lot of like loss along the way. Ryan
Yeah.
Dunn
Oh,
included in that. This movie had a very, very nice tribute to him at
yeah.
the end. And then obviously things like Bam Margera and stuff that it's really sad and kind of still in this moment that it hurts, because it kind of feels like one of your friends is going through something horrible. But then on the other
Totally.
side, there's stories like Steve-O, who has beaten his demons, and to see him look healthier than he has in forever on
He
this
looks
in this
great.
movie. Yeah, like I think this movie did a really good job of growing Jackass up a little bit more than it even has, and I didn't expect that from Jackass 4.
Yeah, I think this is the first time that we see the original crew kind of take a step back a little bit into the producing. Like, I think Devo and Johnny obviously gonna be in the weeds on all of it, but I was a little bit bummed that Chris Pontius is really just like a background, not a background figure, but he is like an observing figure. He doesn't participate in as much stuff as he used to. Um, but I kind of like that because it is a passing of the torch. I liked the new cast a lot, which like at this point is
Fantastic.
kind of fuzzy on like who pops in where and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And who the new guys are, but like all of the faces that I was less familiar with, I was like, oh, like these are new people in the crew. They aren't like just people like filler people that they brought in. Like they have that same energy that the original Jackass crew brought in for sure.
Yeah, totally. I mean, first woman Jackass, first black Jackass,
And she
and
was great.
she was fantastic. And like they played with that in a way that like felt like relevant and fun, and not
Mhm.
the good on the nose, not the bad on the nose. Like they know what they
Yeah.
have, and like it's funny because like we were talking about how what Jackass really is at the end of the day, and it's a group of friends hanging out having fun. But back then, it was a group of friends hanging out having fun, filming themselves, and just like that was it. They just thought it was funny. But then dollar signs get attached to it, and then it turns into this
Yeah.
giant behemoth where now people for decades, and now these new kids aren't doing it for the fun of it. They're doing it because they're like, they saw other people do it and they're like, oh man, I am willing to put my body at risk because it's a job, which like is
Yeah.
a crazy thing to think about, and like the way it like changes the way that these things are made and the way that we even consume them. But I really enjoyed how this fourth movie didn't feel like a cash grab. It didn't feel like they're like, oh, we need one more shot at relevance or whatever. It felt like they wanted to get the gang back together, and this movie happened because they wanted to have fun again. And
Yeah.
that fun kind of really kind of sells through this movie, where I love all the Jackass movies. I think some age better than others for sure.
Yeah.
The first movie's pretty problematic in a lot of ways.
Not great.
But 3, I always really, really loved for their production elements. And I think that this one might be the best movie of them all. Like front to
Mhm.
back, there's no filler really. Like everything's funny. And if it's not that funny, it moves on quick enough and it was worth having for some reason, for,
Yeah.
dare I say, character development. Like I feel like there's a lot of really like quieter moments in this one where it isn't just about the prank. It is about them talking, it is about them kind of like
Yeah.
catching up with old friends.
You see more of it. It almost feels like a camera on the production versus a movie because there are so many pranks that are just centered around them all hanging out and being together for this.
Yeah.
So yeah, like there's like a good amount of like Jeff Tremaine and like a lot of the side or like the production people that I feel like we don't always get.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like it because I feel like those moments feel them. That's how you can tell that none of this is like faked and it's just like them hanging out
Yeah.
and wanting to do this. None of and all of the stunts and stuff that they did this time, like you can tell that they've been sitting on this for a while and people have just been making notes like, what if we did this and what if we did that? And even in the credits, you could tell like we saw like some extended cuts of very, very short clips that we saw in the movie. It's like, oh, they went through and really edited and picked the best moments and didn't just like make this a 2-hour movie because they had enough footage.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that. But before I do, let me tell you about our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by DoorDash. If you've been listening to any kind of funny podcast, you know that we absolutely love using DoorDash. It's so great. It's so simple to just be able to order whatever food we want and then have it delivered right to our house, along with the restaurants you love. You can now get groceries and other essential items delivered with DoorDash. You can get some drinks, snacks, and other household items in under an hour. With over 300,000 partners, you can support your neighborhood go-tos. We always talk about Volcano Curry in San Francisco, of course. Ordering is easy, and your items will be left outside your door when you choose contactless delivery drop-off, whether it is the local favorites or the nationwide chains, like things like Popeyes, Cheesecake Factory, all of that. For a limited time, y'all can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on your first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and enter code KindaFunny. That's 25% off up to a $10 value and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code KindaFunny. Don't forget, that's code KindaFunny for 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Subject to change, terms apply. You know, I am a Jackass dude through and through. Like I'm the type of dude that bought all the bootleg DVDs back in the day, like all the extended universe stuff, the Steve-O out on bail. Like me and Cool Greg were in on this. Absolutely ridiculous. Cause like, God, some of the things they would do in that, I'll never forget. One of the craziest things was Steve-O for a prank thought it'd be funny. He's like, I wonder if I could smuggle drugs to a different country. And that was the prank. And he put drugs in a condom and put it up his butt and then went to a different, oh God, what a disaster. Anyways, enough of that tangent. I love, like you were saying, how all these movies so far, like the 1, 2, and 3 always have a 2.5, 3.5, whatever, which is just the cutting room floor stuff. I hope we get that because I think my favorite moment of this entire movie was the credits. Like the credits never went to black. It never did the white text on a black screen. The entire time there was footage playing, and it was really kind of moving. Like they did a good job of showing before and after type stuff, but it was them doing the exact same stunts and pranks from before, but with slight twist, and like seeing a bull hit Johnny Knoxville 20 years later and his body flipping in the exact same way. Like there's just something about that like it's weirdly moving, you know, like, and
yeah, it's like, oh, it's nostalgic. And I think at least for me, it takes me back to those times of like sitting in your friend's living room at like 3 a.m. and Jackass is on, everybody's just laughing, and like it brings you back to this time, but then it also ties it into like today where it's like, it may be 2022, but we're still kind of doing that. It's just changed a little bit. Maybe it's not 3 a.m. Maybe it's 11 now, but we're all still laughing and having fun. And like, it just is like a youthful remembrance.
And dicks are still funny. And this movie is proof of that. So
many dicks.
You know, like, but it's funny because it's like, you'd think that type of stuff would just be like, oh, like that's so overdone and trite, whatever. I don't want to spoil it. The opening of this movie is fucking phenomenal. There's a reveal that is going to change your life when you see it. Yeah. It's just like, it is insane, and it's Jackass through and through, and it's just the sheer stupidity of it all. But earlier you were saying it's really hard to explain Jackass to somebody that like watches the trailers. Like, why would you ever want this? And like Gia's one of those people. She like, I've never seen her like mad at me for wanting to see something, and I'm like, you just don't get it. And like it's hard to explain, and not that she needs to get it, because some things aren't for everyone. But what I appreciate about Jackass is that it's not just dudes doing pranks. Again, I keep going back to, it's a group of friends that like legitimately love and care about each other. But it's not just doing dumb shit that's funny. There's a Looney Tunes element to it. This is real life Looney Tunes, right? And like, it's the Rube Goldberg machine type things with human beings that make it that much funnier, where it deserves the big screen and a room full of people, which I'm so mad that we were
I
robbed of
know.
that. But I just think that it's a testament to how funny this is and how genuine it is that we still had such a good time being 4 people in a theater laughing our asses off.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's funny to think about, especially like Jackass is like, if you I can't imagine what that group of people having that many personalities like that in one room is like, because we got like a little taste of it with the video of Kevin falling yesterday, of like the physicality of that kind of like just situation. That's so funny. And to imagine that kind of thing times 20 people but on purpose, and
Yeah.
like with the production of like, how do we make our friends do shit like that? Like, I truly can't imagine the chaos that that friend group must be. But it also seems like the most anxious thing of like, I can never turn my back to anybody, but I know
Yeah.
that ultimately it's going to be really funny, and it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, totally. There is weirdly a respect to it all, you
Yeah.
know. But I really like that this one kind of was consistently funny throughout, and it never felt like there was any character that I was like, ugh, I don't want to deal with you. And that used to be the case sometimes in the past, and that's with the old people, the new people, and also the celebrity guests. Like they
Yeah.
fit in, and they felt like they were all just part of the group the entire time. Like Tyler, the creator, killed it. He was phenomenal in this, and like everything he said made the scene so much funnier. And like that to me is the kind of like the moments that really make Jackass extra special is the ad-libbed. I mean, of course it's ad-libbed, they're just talking, but like the
Yeah.
lines that they say after the prank or before the prank or the I don't think it's gonna work. Like there's a timing to the comedy of it all that everyone's always a little unsure how it's gonna go. And I just love that there's always this tension that like sometimes it's even better when it doesn't work. But that's
Yeah.
only because the times later when it does work, it feels like we did it, y'all.
Yeah, the tension of like this whole grouping, like we've put so much work into making this work, and if it doesn't work, like what the fuck are we gonna do? Like we have to make this some we have to turn this into content somehow. Like there is the magic of a whole group of people just like on edge waiting for something to happen. It's so fun. It's so
Yeah.
fun.
I will say I don't think it ever hit the highs of some of the previous movies. Specifically the opening and closing of these movies are always something that I really kind of hold near and dear to my heart. Like the first movie opening with them, with the epic choir, O Fortuna song playing, with them in the giant shopping cart. Like
Yeah.
that is so iconic. And I don't think that they'll ever be able to beat the opening and closing of Jackass 3 because that opened with it was them using 3D, so it
Yeah.
was ridiculous. But they had the slow-mo cameras going. There was the whole ridiculous set, and in the opening, and then at the end of it, they kind of like had the flood come and like destroy the set that they're on. Like it was just
Yeah.
such chaos. This has fun, but it did feel a little bit restrained. And I thought the
Do you
opening
think it's
has some.
because they're getting older? Or do you
I
think what do you
I
think?
think it's a combination of a lot of things, but I think that this one it's kind of like I was saying about Toy Story 3 versus Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
3 was them kind of being like, we're going all out, and this is going to be the most Jackass thing humanly possible. And then their end credits are so touching. Like, go back and watch the credits of 3. Like, it is.
Yeah, I don't remember them off the top of my head.
They do the thing of like showing the growth of each character, like from
Mhm.
footage, the first early footage all the way through to where they're at, and it really felt like a goodbye to Jackass. And
Yeah.
here we are a decade later coming back. And I think that they did a good job of having this just be a nice little check-in. I don't think that it really is supposed to be hey, here's a new crew and we're gonna keep doing
We're
this all the
relaunching
time.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more like, nah, we still love each other. And there's a whole new generation of people that love us and love each other and the shenanigans they get into as well. And we just want to remind people that Jackass will be forever.
Yeah, I feel like we got a lot of heartfelt moments in the movie of like hearing the new crew talk about how much Jackass meant to them and how crazy it was for them to like be watching this as kids and then be part of this one. I think it's just really hard to capture fully Jackass without Bam and Ryan Dunn, which is like
Yeah.
so sad on so many different levels. And like we got Bam in one skit and it was so brief and like I think they edited around him as much as they could.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it was like a little sad reminder of like, oh fuck, like there are a lot of complicated stories that are attached to
Yeah.
this crew of people, but it was
Yeah, man.
still, it was a good check-in to see all of these people. That it's so wild that they're doing this. And what, Johnny Knoxville's 50?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Like, it's nuts.
it is. And here's the thing, like, final review of this movie. Do you need to watch it in the theater? The answer is yes and no. Because yes, watch this movie in a crowded ass theater where everyone's losing their mind. No, because it's Corona times and like that doesn't seem like a good idea. And I really wish this movie was coming out at a different time, because unlike a lot of other things, like it's an event movie. Like it's not a movie. It is an experience, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm a little bummed about that. But I will say, when it comes to streaming platforms, get all of your closest friends together and just fucking have a blast, because I can't wait to watch it again. Like, I really can't wait to have people over here and just fucking like have such a good time laughing at it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm most looking forward to, is like, you and I had like a lot of fun just sitting us two and laughing. But there was like a little bit of that like opening night magic, that of everybody being like, I can't believe that they're doing this, and I can't believe that we're all watching this together.
Yeah.
That was missing, but it's absolutely worth watching. It's a lovely little stroll down memory lane without being like a cash grab. Yeah, you nailed it earlier.
Absolutely. Well, if you end up watching this movie, let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. And if you want to see more Jackass, until next time, I love you all. Goodbye.